That wasn't supposed to happen, but it happened. Let's see if the intro just plays by itself. While I set up things correctly. Hold on. Okay, I think I got everything. Jesus. Alright. Let's continue, shall we? Now, we finished off with Nagakura. And we did the second one. So, we're off to number 3. If I hit the right one. Bad ending number 3. So, low romance and high corruption is your recipe. As soon as we can hit the skip button, we're hitting it. Otori. We're getting there, I swear. This is a very long time without a choice. Holy shit. No. Goodbye, sir. Alright. You, sir, are too reliant on your fury powers. I mustered up the courage to speak with Nagakura, who looked in no mood to entertain a conversation. Nagakura, you're becoming too reliant on your fury powers. If this keeps up, then it's only a matter of time until it kills you. Furies aren't invincible, you know that? If a sword pierces your heart, or if someone cuts your head off, that's the end of you. Which, from my perspective, seems to be what you're going for. This was the most candidly I had ever spoken to him. At first, his eyes widened in shock, leading me to believe that I had been too abrasive. Nagakura pouted as the excuses poured out. At times he was even denser than he seemed. That's just dumb luck. There's a limit to what your body's capable of. What if someone saw the bullet wound in your arm heal itself, huh? What were you going to do then? Nagakura's eyes shifted away from me, giving me some indication that my words were reaching him. He spoke curtly, turning his back to me. Nagakura put his fingers to his chin, stroking it absent-mindedly as he pursed his lips. Skip. Oh, right, this again. Make him endure it! The last time... No, not the last time, actually. A fury's pain was unfathomable to me. Nagakura, who was normally the image of physical health, was collapsed, digging his meaty fingers into his flesh as he writhed in agony. This game and its words that it chooses for localization. Holy shit, and I'm glad I am not the only one who noticed this, because I kind of resurrected on Tumblr, and I saw someone complaining, like, the words that this localization chooses to use sometimes is baffling. And it's still baffling. Just why? You don't need to add some things to some words to make it sound different. Like this one, you could just say fingers. I'm adding that to the list now. Each breath he drew was shorter than the last. He kept his eyes wide open, however, as a method of resisting the urge to succumb to his gruesome state. Being beside Nagakura was the only form of comfort I could offer him. He screeched horrifically in my ear. I entertained the notion that his pithy outburst was a gesture of strength, despite it frightening me. I rubbed the small of his back silently. Skip time. Oh, goody, Dad. Give me the options! I said, you can't. Although Nagakura was fast approaching the brink of collapse in an eruption of rage, using his powers would only hurt him in the long run. What? No! In the blink of an eye, Nagakura's katana flashed as the steel slid from out of the scabbard. Oops. It's the A button's fault, damn it! He growled like a demon possessed. Well, I mean... Yeah. At the emotional center of his frenzy, he felt intense pity for the men who fell from his relentless attacks. He tore through their flesh like parchment. Heads and arms were zealously chopped from their bodies, producing geysers of blood amidst echoing shrieks. Nagakura was proving too difficult an adversary, striking each vital point with accuracy that reduced the Furies into a revolting mess of blood and organs. In the span of a minute, over half of the Furies surrounding us were corpses, and Father was helpless as he watched on in bewilderment. Can I skip? Yes, I can. Alright. So, where's our stopping point? Nagakura responded with a blank stare. Before he could finish, Amagiri bluntly interjected. Oh, I got a phone call. Hold up. Hello. I got a phone call. I'm back. Hi, Dan. Alright, back to the bad end. Not bad end. Game over. It's okay. My mother was looking for a phone number, even though I clearly had put it in her phone. She just couldn't find it. Even though she called the phone number from her phone last week. Logic has left the building. Anyway, Nagakura slumped defeatedly and sat on his bottom. Oh my god, Dan. Giving me no chance to react, Amagiri picked me up. Ah! No! I don't want to be picked up! Excuse me, I never said I'd go with you! My frightened objection went ignored, however. As Amagiri leapt into the air, I shouted desperately at Nagakura, watching his profile shrink in the distance. Nagakura! Nagakura! His back was facing towards me. My voice would no longer reach his ears. Damn, we were just... He just let Amagiri take us. Holy shit. And oh, I see, Dan. I'm sorry if the game caused me to yell. It does that. How about that? Every game I reviewed. Wait, I haven't seen every... Well... I suppose that is the last game over because Cosmo has no game overs, apparently. So yay, achievement unlocked. Next. Bad ending. For Nagakura. Where's our boy? Chapter 4. Low romance and high corruption. What the fuck? That's weird, Dan. More importantly, I wanted him to know I believe in you. I believe you're strong enough to overcome this. My feeble opinion was met with a troubled look from Nagakura, whose eyes had slunk away from me. An unscalable wall was being built around Nagakura's heart. One that was proving impossible for me to topple. Perhaps he just needed a little more time. As he shuffled back into his bedroom, the rest of the porch cooled, and I coiled my knees into my chest. Found out a lot of people don't like Nagakura's route. And I was like, y'all are missing out on Nagakura. I swear. And so, for the last time, we make him endure it. Oh my god, Dan. Well, you got it to work and I applaud you. Watching Nagakura writhe uncontrollably was too much for me to handle, leading me to question whether or not anything could soothe. This goddamn A-button. To soothe his immeasurable pain just then. Suddenly I became self-conscious, interrupting his outburst as a response to my doubtful expression. Okay. Hang in there, Nagakura! Nagakura's body flailed involuntarily as if he were engulfed in flames before he dropped to his knees. I know. I'm here. He gnashed his teeth, scratching so deeply into his arms that it drew blood, and all I could do was watch. I finished my thought by saying, I'll leave him up to you. I was uncertain about whether or not I could get through to Father, which overwhelmed me. It was too much for one person to handle alone, so I'll leave him to you, Nagakura. Would that be okay with you? Nagakura nodded intently, giving me a sense of relief that he seemingly understood my position.
俺が何とかしてみる。ああ、あれだ。とっ捕まえてぶん殴ってやるからよ。
This is why we in this house appreciate Nagakura. We're getting there. Where does it stop? Father slips curl into a maniacal grin, drawing from his sleeve a handful of scalpels. Oh no, not again! Nagakura quickly lunged his sword forwards, but Father had vanished in the blink of an eye. Before Nagakura could react, Father appeared behind him like an apparition. Father drove the handful of scalpels into Nagakura's flesh, right into his heart, causing a gush of blood to split forwards as more froth in Nagakura's mouth. No! Nagakura! Streaks of blood ran down the sides of his mouth, and he dropped lifelessly to the ground with a thud. I ran frantically towards his body, but a gang of furies lurking nearby were quick to restrain my limbs. Let go! Let go of me! Father ambled towards me cautiously. The last thing I ever saw was his grin, which warped in satisfaction as he reached his hand from my neck. That is something? Wait, does that mean Kyoto killed him? Oh my god. I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not. To be fair. And lastly, we're now on to the unrequited love, which requires low romance and low corruption as your recipe. Which we're gonna skip a bunch of. We're skipping right on up till the end. I mean, I already added my VODs and I record this shit separately. The only thing is that the stream gets the mixed thing. Yeah, I believe in you as the correct answer. Okay. And since I added my VODs, I can edit the way my voice sounds. So I'm sorry. Besides, this is my practice. I get to yell into a microphone. I often don't get to yell into a microphone or scream. And my screams usually suck, so... yeah. The whole reason I chose this is to practice myself. Give him blood. For the last time also. We've seen this. We're over it. I'll leave him up to you. And now we wait. After the kiss. Dan, what? Alright, we're up here again. Father's lips curled into a maniacal grin, drawing from his sleeve a handful of scalpels.
羅刹と鬼の両方の力を持った私に叶うとでも思ったのかね。
そんなこと当然勝てるに決まってるじゃねえか。
残念だよ、長倉君。
残念かどうかは自分に聞いてみやがれ。
Nagakura quickly lunged his sword forwards, but father had vanished in a blink of an eye.
そこだ!
Without turning around, Nagakura pointed his blade behind him, exactly where father had reappeared. As he materialized behind Nagakura, the sword was wedged into his chest right above his heart.
羅刹にもならず、私は。
ああ、これが人間のバカ力ってやつだ。
人間ですか。だが羅刹になった君はその呪縛から逃れられなかったようだ。
おい、どういうことだよ。
Nagakura's expression suddenly went blank, and in the space of a second he transformed into a fury. Uh-oh. Without missing a beat, he collapsed to his knees, as if all of the energy in his body had been sapped. His sword rolled out of his hands to the floor, and he began fervently crawling at his back. Is that scalpel made of silver? Father had a few more tricks up his sleeve, returning Nagakura's aggressive attack by stabbing him in the back with a coated scalpel. Nagakura gazed melancholy at the scalpel in father's hand.
なるほどな。俺は人間じゃなくて羅刹の体だったんだよな。
His hands trembled slightly. Soon the tips of his fingers began turning to ash, not unlike the ends of burned incense. Nagakura? Despite grimacing through what appeared to be intense pain, Nagakura mustered a timid smile.
千鶴ちゃん、今までありがとな。
But then, also what? What? Nagakura! I sprinted towards him, but I was too late. Every inch of his body began disintegrating to ash, disappearing like dust into the air. After losing Nagakura, I fled from Yonezawa Castle, passing over the charred battlegrounds in Aizu before returning to the town surrounding Edo Castle. I clung to the faint glimmer of hope that I would reunite with Harada and Edo, but the Shoki Company's expedition to Ueno proved fruitless, resulting in their annihilation, which made his whereabouts unknown. I'd only had one memento of Nagakura to keep. I hugged his sword as tightly as I would have hugged him, which may have been a desperate gesture. Of visiting Matsumai Domain's residence in Edo. Supposedly this was the site of Nagakura's birth. I wished dearly to return his sword to his family. I wanted to tell them how kind-hearted and genial he was, how, together, we shared tears and laughter. There was only one thing that I was forgetting. Yes. It was the vow I had made to him. Excuse me. I am the wife of Shinpachi Nagakura. I screamed at the top of my lungs towards the entrance gate of the residence, waiting for a sign that they would take me at my word. Oh. Oh. Okay. That's... Oh, that's one way. That is... Oh my god. Alright. That leaves us with Kazuma. So we're going straight to chapter 4 for that one. Alright. Hey. I don't know how I feel about this unrequited love ending. I feel like the scalpel thing is a little bit too cheap. I feel like it is. Alright. Off to do Cosmos. Once it loads. Oops. Alright, there's the bitch. We're back with you. Chapter 4. Oh. Low romance. That's it. That's your recipe. Now I will be pressing the button because I'm missing a word apparently. We're not straight up skipping. I am missing a word according to the encyclopedia. Despite me already having the achievement somehow.
Hi.
Hey. But I'm saving.
いや、今日は飯の前に酒を飲む。すぐに支度をしろ。
All of the screenshots.
薬ならば。
Angry Chizuru. Angry Chizuru is adorable.
る前ずいぶん船は見つ
But I realized while speaking to Kazuma that I am powerless. Nothing good can come from impatience. So it's best for you to relax in the meantime. You're the one who said to me, Kazuma, back in Aizu. I looked Kazuma squarely in the face. Sweat trickled down the back of my neck until he shut his eyes, forming his mouth into a thin grin.
なるほど少しは成長したよう
I hate it. I don't like Kazuma. I know where I stand here. I recognize that I'm powerless in this situation. All that I can do is prepare myself for the next step accordingly, whenever that moment comes. And of course, find some means of repaying you and Amagiri for all of your hard-fought efforts.
殊勝な心がけだな己の力量をわきまえるのは悪いことで
Suddenly, Kazuma's expression dropped and he appeared stern without missing a beat. Kazuma?
お前の先ほどの問いについてだが
Alright.
飯の後の方がいい
We're skipping this very carefully.
蝦夷に向かうこのようなつま奴らには旧幕府俺たちが行け
I don't know where this word will be.
立てひとときでそれがお前
I think my brain doesn't really understand Kazuma.
いいだろうお前と約束したからさて
We're on a ship.
明日には蝦夷奴らのさ 夜風はひ
We're reaching there. Cannons!
こちらへ来い。
今は総攻撃待て
I haven't seen a pink word. I promise you that I'll return. I would be lying if I had said that I was in no need of Kazuma's support. However, up until now, the remnants of the Shinsengumi had committed everything to fighting this war. So I, too, must see this finale take shape, alone. After making up my mind, I shook Kazuma's arm off of me. I took everything inside of me to confront It took everything inside of me to confront my timid heart, and I sheepishly turned around to face Kazuma. I promise that I'll return to you. So please wait for me here, Kazuma. I know it's been said, but thank you for everything. Kazuma's response seemed to hang on the tip of his tongue, but nothing came out. His reaction was disturbing enough for me to call myself and my nerves into question once more. So I kicked the sand as I broke off into a sprint. My destination was Goryokaku. It was here that I would presumably find the Shinsengumi. I overheard a conversation on the ship about how Goryokaku was a few clicks southeast from Nanaihama Bay. Nanaihama Bay, which was enough for me to go off. Each step I took was scored by the bombast of deafening cannon fire. What was more worrying, however, was that the sounds were closer than when we arrived. I was getting closer to the epicenter of the fighting, closer to where the Shinsengumi men may have been drawing their final breaths. I shut my eyes, trying to focus on thoughts amidst the chaotic sounds that continued through the forest. A soldier cried out from somewhere in my vicinity, and I hit him almost immediately. I heard his rifle cock, making my hair stand. Who could it be? Had I encountered an Imperial soldier? Or was he a former shogunate rebel? I felt beyond the realm of possibility that they would simply give up their search while I kept hiding behind a tree, so I had to think of worst-case scenarios. If they were Imperial soldiers, then I could have possibly told them that I had arrived via a Satsuma vessel, and they would spare my life. I had no way of predicting the truth, however, which troubled me as my time slowly ran out. My throat was scratchy, so I gulped my saliva. Without a second more to think, I leapt up. Just as I was about to explain myself, a stampede of footsteps came straight for us. I cupped my hands over my mouth in fear. Behind us, rifles were being cocked and loaded. And then everything went silent, save for the cracks of rifles firing off in succession. One of the bullets ripped through my chest. My knees were wobbly, suddenly unable to support my weight, and I dropped to the ground. I came all the way to Ezo. I truly thought that I had reached the Shinsengumi, that all of my strife and pain had been worth it. I'm so sorry, Kazuma. You went through all of the effort to grant me safe passage to Ezo, after weeks of diligent searching. But I am unsure of how much longer I've got left. A blinding light flooded my eyes, like I had been swallowed by a vortex, and then darkness. Well, that was one bad end. But I did not find the word that's in pink. Bummersville! Population U! All bad endings viewed. Thanks. Achievement system. Alright, back here. And all we need to do is do low romance again. Well, since the first part is going to be the same. We're almost done! It has to be in the second one, doesn't it? Powerless is the correct answer, and we can skip this because we're going all the way to the second time we pick something. Will you stay with me until the bitter end? We have seen this before. Except I need this. Thank you. I have a feeling that the word is actually in the other part. Ha! Hold on. Kazuma and I scattered through a storm of bullets flying through barrels and tree trunks, counting ourselves as lucky for having survived it all. We kept low to the ground, sprinting from one hiding place to the next to reach the Shinsengumi safely. As we arrived in the vicinity of Goryokaku, it was dusk. Hold on, this is a pretty as fuck background. I am saving this. Holy shit. What remained of the sun was dwindling over the horizon. Vibrant hues smattered across a purple sky. I quickly realized we were stepping over corpses strewn helplessly along the ground, and I flinched.
新政府軍の筒袖を着ているということは殺したのは幕兵か
Shogunate's work? But it doesn't look like they suffered any bullet wounds. Instead of signs that their body had been pelted by projectile fire, as I had seen in other battles, I noticed their bodies bore deep scars from katana wounds. I started to wonder how all of these Imperial soldiers were subdued with only swords. Just as the thought crossed my mind.
まさかてめえが蝦夷地まで来てやがるとは思わなかったな。
Holy shit. That voice. Hijikata. Oh, there it is! Toshisho Hijikata, number 3. The Shinsengumi's fearless leader who drank the water of life following a battle with Imperial forces. I'm gonna guess this after Utsunomiya. Just saying. Okay. We found the word we were missing. Apparently. Although I felt some relief in recognizing the man standing in front of us as Hijikata. His hair had turned stark white, his eyes glowing menacingly in a shade of scarlet. As if that weren't enough to intimidate me, he was coated in an astonishing amount of blood. Part of me actually found him unrecognizable, and I believed his mind had succumbed to his affliction, resulting in some deranged, mindless fury. Kazuma delivered his words scathingly, despair hidden behind a veneer of anger. The two of us discussed the Shinsengumi to great lengths throughout the course of our pursuit, but neither of us, Kazuma especially, had ever anticipated him to consume the water of life, nor sacrifice his humanity for the sake of victory.
もともと俺たちは武士のまがいものって呼ばれてた。例えば新選組を負けさせるよりはマシだから。
Hijikata wore an eerie grin, shifting his feet into a stance as he unsheathed his blood-stained sword.
この五稜郭も明日には落ちる。この状況で俺を切ったとてどうなるものでもあるな。知ってるよ、あんなことは。新政府のやつらは
さんを殺した連中がその国で生き続けるなんざ真っ平なんだ。
Hijikata-san! I was speechless. Hijikata-san had all but given up living beyond this war. Why was he so willing to relent? He lived, and the others hadn't. It befuddled me to think he would dispose of himself so wantonly. The curtain may have been closing, but he was no stagehand. He was the key player. However... Kazuma accepted Hijikata-san's offer, drawing his sword out from its sheath as well. Kazuma, why? No, I can't! Kazuma had ventured with me in search of the Shinsengumi for the better part of an entire year. At some point, I thought I was beginning to feel some sense of sentiment in regards to Hijikata-san, who valiantly led the Shinsengumi through thick and thin. Why? Why must the two of you fight? Kazuma hadn't even blinked. He kept his glare fixed on Hijikata-san, his eyes fuming with rage as he pondered how to kill his opponent. Is it because Hijikata-san became a fury? Do you feel obligated as a demon to exterminate every fury you come across? Then why? My attempts to penetrate Kazuma's resolve were useless, and it only seemed to stoke his fire. Kazuma always held a low opinion of humans, never missing an opportunity to sneer at their way of life. But now he viewed himself as an agent of change, one to help facilitate Hijikata-san's supposed death wish. As an outsider, I interpreted his decision as one made not as a demon, but as a samurai, a true warrior. His manner of accepting Hijikata-san's offer to duel bordered on respectful, a conversation mutually understood by two men with nothing to lose. Under circumstances like these, did I truly have any room to object? Sorry, Hijikata, I can't hear you. The mixing is terrible. Apparently Kazuma's loud and clear. What the fuck? The two warriors clutched their swords tightly, trading glares that could paralyze a lesser man. Then, Hijikata-san was the first to move. Kazuma's heightened perception aided him as he deftly intercepted Hijikata-san's lunge instantaneously. Hijikata-san showed no signs of faltering, however. There was purpose in Hijikata-san's movements, putting his full weight behind each swing as if to signal a larger desire to kill Kazuma rather than to survive the fight. He charged at Kazuma with relentless fervor. Furor? This is how Hijikata-san fights. He was a demon, but only in name, an unstoppable force that spent every iota of blood and sweat for a shot at victory in battle. After suffering defeat after defeat, as well as the deaths of his closest comrades, many of whom he had fought beside for years, he persevered. Hijikata-san swung horizontally, overshooting Kazuma's head and exposing his chest. Kazuma exploited this with a swift jab, piercing through Hijikata-san's chest cavity. A mouthful of blood was spat from Hijikata-san's mouth, who seemed visibly unfazed before he returned the favor. Before Kazuma had a chance to parry, Hijikata-san rushed to slice along the length of Kazuma's neck. Both men were nursing serious wounds, and my hair stood as I watched blood soak into their tight uniforms. It was only by the grace of sheer will that these two could still stand, let alone continue to fight.
お互い限界が近いみてえだな。
さっき限界が近いのは貴様だけだ。次で光栄に思うが、貴様が人生最後に戦った相手はこの地上で最強の男だ。
In the next moment, both men kicked at the ground simultaneously, leaving cracks in the earth below them. Hold on. Wait. Oh, it died! Oh, it died! Why did it die? Come on. Come on. Don't do that to me now. Don't. You can do this. I have faith in you. I have faith. I have faith. I have faith. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, Lord. It is trying very hard. Hey. Come on. Stay steady now. Stay steady. Steady? Are we steady? Are we okay now? Stream drop. Stream is... oh, come on. Be good. Be good. Be good? Are we okay? I can't, I can't tell. Are we... stream struggling? Let's get a stable connection as it's bopping between many things. Come on. It's really right. Are you okay to stream? It restarted itself. That's not a good look. It really did restart itself. Holy sh... Okay. Are we stable now? Of course I ask it and it immediately starts going into a different color. I'm going to say that it's okay. And we're going to continue through this. I'm sorry. $768p. Thanks. But is it fine is the question. It's dropping frames. What the fuck? Why are you doing this? Well, we're gonna continue, see what happens, because I can't fix this. All I could make out of their figures were their shadows, crossing in midair, followed by the electrifying hiss of their katanas smacking against one another. It was an awe-inspiring display, 2 warriors who were little more than candles at the end of their wicks, putting their all into one last strike. For a second after, their bodies were suspended in the air like they had been frozen in time until their bodies dove into the ground with a dull thud. The following day, after weeks of arduous fighting, the government in Hakodate tendered their surrender to the Imperial Army. I stood at the edge of Nanaihama Bay, where only a day previously I arrived with Kazuma, with a heart full of hope, staring at the waves crashing on the shore. No, it is not. Hijikata-san made himself abundantly clear. He had no desire to live in a country governed by the Imperial Army, those responsible for Kondo-san's death. Kazuma had seemed more than willing to oblige him, partly out of a personal vendetta, but mostly as a gesture of good faith between 2 seasoned warriors. But he hadn't survived the descent in the aftermath of their battle, lying limp next to his sword on the cold ground. For the entirety of their existence, the Shinsengumi committed themselves to an idealized version of what it truly meant to be a warrior. How fitting then for the Shinsengumi's last duel to be with their greatest adversary, Kazuma, a living embodiment of their most coveted values. I mean, yeah. Though this game, at least in the localized version, has some choice words that I often yell at for choosing, and wondering there are so many other words you could choose or none at all, and it would still make sense. Each party played a pivotal role in the outcome of the war, yet history would immortalize neither. Their myths would soon become little more than whispers. Except to me. I was the only witness to their respective ends. The gravity of this burden was not lost upon me. I will never forget what happened here, no matter what, until my dying breath. I will keep this memory safe, preserved in my mind's eye for eternity. I shut my eyes, listening to the rhythm of the waves beating against one another in the rising tide. I could see him. I saw Kazuma, his golden hair flowing gracefully amidst the ocean breeze, and his crimson eyes staring back at me. I could have sworn he was smiling. Alright. I still don't like Kazuma! I don't know what... I need to post on somewhere, maybe Tumblr and Twitter, and ask, why do people like Kazuma? Because I have a genuine curiosity. I feel like I don't understand Kazuma's character, and that's a problem. There is something about Kazuma that I don't understand, and I don't know what it is, and I can't piece it together, and it makes me not like him. And instead, I end up liking the people that are around in his story better than him. And that is a problem. You want to reread? What do you mean you want to reread? Oh my god, I am not reading that like that. I don't know if I even could. I don't know if I could pull that off. Anyway, am I about to get my last achievements? Fucking damn it. Oh god. Finn. I don't even know how I would even begin to read that out loud. Love is a battlefield. All unrequited endings viewed. Did I get everything? Did I get everything in the gallery? Considering now we are done. I have not. Husbando's unlocked! All event CGs unlocked! Chizzy Chizzy Bang Bang. All trophies for Edo Blossoms attained. Yeah! Complete CG has been unlocked. We got everything. Oh. Oh! Okay. Hold on. This is what I get for completing everything. Damn it, I thought it was still scrolling. Okay, I approve of this. This is a nice... This is a nice end. This is a nice piece of art. I approve of it. I am a little bit sad that our favorite boy, Yamazaki, doesn't get a Western uniform, but that's fine. I approve. We got everybody. We've done it. We have everything. Oh no, not Okita. Okita reminds me of Sads. I don't want to remember the Sad. The new boys have very little pictures. A little sad, but that's alright. Okay. But I have not seen Friendship Club. Which means now we can go and do Kyoto Wins. Because we still have those endings. So I'm just gonna exit out of Edo Blossom and boot up Kyoto Wins. Let's do that. And also go and change. There we go. I have the same restrictions. And now I gotta pull up the guide. And we're starting with Kazuma again. Where is the bitch? Found him. Let's have the ending shot. The opening, not ending. I'd sing it, but I don't want to hit the high note right now. I don't feel like it. Alright. Now we're continuing our journey with bad ends and unrequited loves because there are no game overs. And of course, we start with Kazuma. So, we're back in Kyoto. Records of service. Chapter 5 with Chikage Kazuma. Low romance is your recipe for everything, because that makes sense. And we're gonna hit the skip button till we get where we need to get. Request. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
いや、数に物を言わ。3年も。
Hold on. Wait a minute. That's the gun goes off. Settings. Button. Wait, why is skip? Huh? Wait. This just reversed my button. What the? Wait, no. Oh my god, the buttons are reversed. Because I'm pressing X and it brings up the menu when clearly I put X as skip, right? Yeah. Oh my god, we have found something that is messed up. Put this back at Y. Okay, setting bits for skip, read, force text. Okay, that brings that up. That's auto. Skip read. Skip read. I suppose is the actual way you read that. So many sounds. We have a ways to go, but we'll reach there. Oh, Jesus Christ. It just went through the sound effects that fast? What the hell? Okay. That might be a monster. A monster. What they said had some truth to it. Even if I was covered in bullet holes, I was still alive, and they saw my wounds heal unnaturally. Clearly, I was no ordinary human. However, thanks to these monster powers, I may have been able to avenge Inoue. I gripped my kodachi tightly, getting into a ready position before charging at the gang of soldiers. Can I skip this? I don't want to scream again. No? Another barrage of bullets tore through almost every inch of my body, and I endured the pain. Flinching slightly, I stepped forward again.
あれだけの弾を受けたというのに傷がもう癒えてやがる。やはり化け物だ。殺せ、すぐに殺せ。
Then, out of nowhere,
鬼の棟梁の血を引く娘が人間ごときの言葉に何を揺らいでいるのだ。このようなゲスどもの言葉など耳を貸してやるだけの値打ちもあるまい。
that voice. Just then, I felt a warm embrace of arms wrapped around me before lifting me up. It's the bitch! Okay. Okay, skip. Because I'm Koto's daughter. I'm Koto Yukimura's daughter.
あの男が娘の説得に耳を貸すとも思えんがな。まあいい、好きにしろ。ただし、奴が聞き入れぬようなら、この俺が始末をつける。いいな。
Okay. If I wanted Kazuo to refrain from killing my father, then it was imperative for me to get father to admit his wrongdoing and repent. The A button, I swear to God. Father, let's stop all of this. Why are you so set on reviving our clan? Can't we just go back to Edo and live the life we used to?
お前は人間という生き物のことを分かっておらん。目先の欲に突き動かされた人間たちの醜い姿をお前も目にしただろう。
Ugh. Immediately, I thought of those murderous traitors who killed Inoue. Sure, if all humans were truly like that, then I could see where father was coming from, but most humans aren't like that, right? There were so many kind people we knew back in Edo, remember?
それは彼らが我々を人間だと同族だと思っていたからだよ。我々が鬼だと知った時の人間たちの冷淡さを見れば、お前もそんなことは言えなくなるさ。
Father.
やはり折り合えぬようだな。分かっていたことだが。
With an air of composure, Kazuma unsheathed his blade and stood in front of me.
同胞を殺すのは里を持たないはぐれ鬼の所業であるはずですが、
まがいものの鬼を生み出す貴様らははぐれ鬼以下の存在だ。それに貴様ら道を踏み外した者を撃つのも我々一族の棟梁の役目。
なるほど。ですが一族の棟梁を務める男鬼の相手をするのはちと分が悪い。
Father put 2 fingers to his lips, whistling loudly. That is not a whistle, that is a snap. Then, what the? Pairs of red eyes flashed in the nearby darkness. This can't be. What appeared were white-haired, red-eyed furies. It wasn't only 1 or 2 of them either. Out of nowhere, almost 24 furies had appeared in front of us. Is this skippable? Yes, it is. Never mind. Alright. After turning away from me, Kazuma curled his lips. Then he charged for the furies. He moved gracefully, slashing through the Furies as their blood splattered like rain around him. Their injuries, as expected, healed immediately. However, even so, it just made it so Cosmo would incline himself to inflict even harsher wounds upon them. Watching the display of his awesome technique took my breath away. Just then,
本当に俺たちと共に来るつもりはないのかい?
what do you want, Kaoru?
風間のやつはこうして羅刹や落ち水に頼る俺たちを見下してるようだけど、里を失った俺たちが再び安住の地を得る方法なんて他にあると思うか?
I had no idea what happened to the Yukimura clan, or why reviving our people was so important, but there was one thing I knew for sure. I don't think we should rely on that serum. I understand your desire to create a space where you can live safely from the threat of humans, but that doesn't give you the right to put the lives of others in danger, don't you think?
そうか。お前は優しい子に育ったね。今までたくさんの人から大切にされてきたんだろうな。俺と違って。
Kaoru's voice suddenly shook with so much anger, and when I looked up, a sharp pain pierced through my heart. Kaoru had stabbed me with his kodachi, the daitsuren, and the steel felt cold in my chest. Kaoru, why? My body felt suddenly weak, and I felt lightheaded as I fell slowly to the floor.
どうしてって。決まってるだろう。兄さんはずっとお前のことが大好きだったんだから。可愛い妹とこれから先同じ道を歩き続けることができないって言うなら、もう殺すしかないじゃないか。
His words made no sense to me. All I could understand was I could no longer do anything to stop my father or reunite with the Shinsengumi. My vision went dark. Hello, bad end. Alright. And now back to the same chapter. And now we get to skip everything again. Oh, fire's gonna happen. Yay, water. Jesus. And, I might be a monster, is the first correct answer. Ow. Anyway, because I'm the head of the Yukumura clan, and we've been through this, so where will it stop me?
案ずるには当たらぬ。数を揃えたところで所詮はまがいもの。本物の鬼に勝てるはずがあるまい。
Cosmo gracefully stood in front of them. The Furies, whose eyes burned with intense bloodlust, all rushed for Cosmo at once. The difference in power, however, was unmistakable. Cosmo's movements far surpassed anything human were capable of, tearing through the Furies with extraordinary precision and strength. Cosmo splattered blood throughout the forest like summoning rain through a dance, and cries of anguish echoed around us. After no time at all, Cosmo slayed every single Fury, and he glared angrily at Kaoru and Father.
さて、残るは貴様らだけか。
Ah, fuck.
盗賊か。
Rewind.
さて、残るは貴様らだけか。道を踏み外したとはいえ同族の情けだ。苦しませずにあの世へ送ってやる。
盗賊か。同族の俺たちの里が人間どもに滅ぼされた時、お前はどこで何をしてたんだ。手を差し伸べてもくれずに高みの見物をしてたんじゃないのか。所詮人事だもんな。たまたま安全な場所にいただけのお前が何もかも失った俺たちにいたけだかに物を言うなんて。そんなのが鬼の棟梁の本来のあり方だって言うんなら、俺は鬼と認められなくても構わないよ。
Cosmo unsheathed his kodachi, and he lunged for Cosmo. But Cosmo anticipated the path of the strike and met it with a fierce block.
くそ。
I'm sure Kaoru was a skilled swordsman in his own right, but it was obvious Cosmo was a far superior one.
かつて我が風間家と並び称された東の鬼の剣がこの程度か。貴様の一族が置かれていた境遇には同情を禁じ得ぬが、だからといってこの日の本にまがいものの鬼の存在を許すわけにはいかん。
Cosmo readied the sword in his right hand, preparing his stance to strike. And then... Cosmo! No! The chilling sound of flesh being torn asunder was followed by Kaoru's splattering upon the floor. As a sharp edge slashed through his body, Kaoru dropped to the floor.
次は貴様だ、コード。
Cosmo pointed his sword towards my father, which dripped with Kaoru's fresh blood.
お好きになさるがいい。我々鬼は個人の功名心ではなく、一族の名の永続をより重んじるもの。 雪村一族最高という我々の望みは鬼として何ら恥ずべきものではないと私は今でも信じております。
Please, wait! I couldn't remain an idle spectator this time, and I jumped out to protect my father. Please, spare my father! I know what my father has done is hard to forgive. However, even with all of the sins my father has committed, he's the only family I have left. Father tenderly patted my shoulder. I looked back at him, quivering nervously, and he smiled back at me.
いいんだよ。
Father?
私や薫君が死んでしまってもお前さえ生きていてくれれば雪村の家名は残る。我々を裁く鬼の道理とやらをその目でしかと見届けてやるといい。
言いたいことはそれだけか。
In the next moment, Kazuma raised his blade to swing. Kazuma, you can't! As I screamed out to him, I saw the flash of his blade, followed by my father's severed head fly from the top of his body. Suddenly then, I blacked out. When I came back to my senses, I realized I was with Kimigiku, and I was in a demon village, hidden in a mountain that was close to Kyoto. Kyo, damn it. Sen. Gomene. I don't think I could bring myself to.
そうまああんなことがあった後だものね。でも本当よかったわ。お菊があの時あなたを偶然見つけてくれなかったら今頃どうなってたか。
Kimigiku had been ordered by Sen to check on the various happenings in their vicinity when she had randomly found me passed out on a mountain path.
にしても風間が強引にあなたを連れ去らなかったのはどうしてかしらね。
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because that's unlike Kazuma.
あいつのことだから無理やり連れて行くだろうって思ってたのに。風間なりに罪悪感を抱いてたってことなのかしら。
Kazuma. A man who murdered my father and my brother. I could understand the reasons behind why he felt compelled to do so. Their actions were inexcusable to demons and mankind alike. But even so, they were the only family I had.
今日の大阪も薩長の手に落ちたらしいわ。新選組の人たちは江戸に戻るんですって。戦いはまだ続くってことね。
The moment I'd heard her mention the Shinsengumi, I jumped. However, there's no way I could return to them now. How could I? Sen must have noticed the worry in my face, and she tried to comfort me.
ここにいれば心配はいらないわ。応仁の乱の時だってこの八瀬の里は戦火に巻き込まれずに済んだんだから。
Ne, Sen, there's something I need to talk with you about.
何かしら。
Kazuma said that the Furies in the Water of Life go against the laws of demons. But my father said that he was only working to restore the legacy of my family. So as a demon, is it Kazuma who's right? Or was it my father? Sen seemed to contemplate this for a while as she thought to herself quietly. I knew that it wasn't really the easiest question to answer.
私たち鬼は同じ鬼という種族ではあるけど、一族がたどってきた歴史や背負っているものはそれぞれ違っているわ。
Okay.
里を滅ぼされた雪村一族とうちみたいに健在な一族とでは望むこともそのあり方も 他の一族に対する感情も全く違うでしょうね。ただ一つ、どの一族にも共通することがあるとしたら、いつの時代も人の世の争いにかかわらず静かに暮らしていくこと、そう望むこと。私たちは本来ずっとそうして生きてきたのよ。
Princess Sen, chief of the Yasei clan who had been living in Kyoto since ancient times. The wind blew through the room where Sen and I were speaking, as if responding to her answer. The place where I had been born. I wonder if the Yukimura village was at all similar to this place. Father, brother, where could I go from here? Kazuma feeling guilt. It's not the first time we've seen it. It happened when he actually did for real kill Koro and Kaoru in Edo Blossom as part of plot. How do I feel? I don't know. That's the thing. I still feel dead about Cosmo. So, demons are not supposed to interact with humans, but they do. Alright. I guess I should pull up Nagakura because he's next. Alright. Records of service. Shinpachi Nagakura. And it's allurements. Let's see how far we can go. Yeah, gunshot. In response, I said, "You'll come back, right? You'll come back, right?"
ああ、ちゃんと帰ってくるからよ。安心してここで待っててくれ。
I have to respond firmly, or I was sure that Nagakura would remain troubled. So with all the energy I could muster. Alright, be careful out there, Nagakura. Nagakura smiled at me warmly, and he walked away to return to the battlefield. Doo-doo. Oh no, it's on fire. So I told him that's unfortunate. You've all worked so hard. That's unfortunate. I could tell how frustrating it was for Nagakura. All that effort to end up retreating like this. Just as this thought was simmering in my mind, Nagakura regained his composure and began to mutter aloud.
でもよ、土方さんの言うことももっともなんだよな。このままじゃこの伏見奉行所は落ちる。それは分かってるんだ。仕方ねえな。大坂に行って籠城の準備をするか。
Nagakura tried to shake himself to reality. Ugh. I decided that I'd follow suit and get on board with the same mindset. Alright. Now, where is our bad ending gonna be? Anyway, Nagakura had saved me. And now the men they spared. You monsters! Anger boiled from the pit of my stomach. Once again, I reached for my kodachi and stood up. But then, a shock zipped through me, and I felt something hot spreading through my chest. The pain didn't register immediately, and I think my body was numb to it. It was as if it weren't actually happening to me. Then slowly, my vision grew dim, and white covered my eyes. The strength to stand left my legs. I fell to my knees. I reached my hand out one last time for them, and my consciousness fell black. Well, that was fast. That was real fast. Holy shit. Alright, on to the unrequited love. skip button. The sun is here. It's in my face. We'll get there. So close. The first option's here. You'll come back, right? It's not over yet! Alright, so where is this gonna start? Oh my eyes. God, so many gunshots. I could hear Nagakura's voice. I heard it, but I can't go.
頼む。行ってくれ。行くんだ。
His pained roar snapped me out of my daze, and I ran for it. Behind me, I could hear his voice screaming out.
そのまま振り返らずに走れ。
Okay, I will. I repeated his words over and over, running straight without ever looking back. The bitter pang of gunshots ran behind me, but I heeded his words and didn't look back. I ran. I don't remember how or to where, but somehow I got myself back to where the Shinsengumi were, learning that they were preparing to leave for Edo. I told them all that had happened with Nagakura and Inoue, and Harada and Saito-san ran out. There was nothing else I could do. For myself, I headed for Osaka Castle, along with the retreating Shinsengumi parties. Before I'd realized, night had fallen. One after the other, Shinsengumi warriors late in their escape had started to return finally. Some were exhausted and some had gruesome injuries, but they seemed to have a sense of great relief that they made it back safely, if at all. But I knew this relief was fleeting since the news of the battle was less than positive. By this time, the shogun had almost completely retreated from both Kyoto and Osaka. The Supreme Commander, Lord Yoshinobu, had already escaped to Edo by ship. He had taken Katamori Matsudariya, the Shinsengumi superior, who'd held the position of Kyoto military commissioner, with him to Edo. Since the Lord Yoshinobu wasn't there to give orders, war could not continue from Osaka Castle. Hijikata-san was furious, and very painfully had to accept the retreat. It was a day filled with bad news for the Shinsengumi, but I could care less about any of that right now. I buried my head in my knees in the corner of the room where everyone had gathered. It was almost impossible for me to pull myself up from where I'd sat. Thinking back to what had happened to Nagakura and Inoue, they were shot. What became of them? Please return safe. That was all I could wish for.
Yukimura, 大丈夫か?
A voice suddenly came from above my head. When I realized it was Saito-san, I slowly peeked up from my knees.
よ、今帰ったぜ。
Above me stood both Saito-san and Harada, both of them looking incredibly fatigued. I jumped up quickly in the hopes of pressing them for an answer. Saito-san, Harada, welcome back. Any word on Inoue and Nagakura? They must have sensed the desperation in my voice. Saito-san didn't even look me in the eye as he answered.
ゲンさんは残念だった。
This was the worst response I'd expected. But it was something I knew was coming. His words hit me like a dull knife and I went cold. Tears began to well in my eyes. Then I had to take a deep breath, mustering the courage to ask about the safety of the other one. I see. So, what of Nagakura? This time it was Harada who showed reluctance to answer. This alone, however, still gave me no clue. So this must mean Nagakura hadn't survived. Just as I began to consider the thought,
新八はまあ無事だった。
Wait, what? Really? Oh, goodness, I'm happy to hear that. A rush of relief and joy overcame me. He was safe. Where is he then?
おい、新八、顔ぐらい見せてやれ。
Harada turned and beckoned to a figure behind him who appeared to be Nagakura, watching him from a slight distance very timidly. Nagakura! Welcome back!
ただいま。
I'm so glad. Are your wounds okay? Were you shot at over and over again? I'll need to treat you immediately, so I'll... Nagakura suddenly cut me short.
いや、そのことなんだが、江戸への撤退の話は聞いているよな。
Huh? Well, yes. What about it? I stopped myself as his words registered. That wasn't really my concern at the moment. I have to clean his wounds right away.
江戸までは君のことを送っていく。けど、その後は新選組からは離れてくれないか。
As these words entered my ears, all of a sudden my mind went blank as if time had stopped. What did he just say? Leave? Why? My voice was trembling. Words escaped me. Nagakura refused to face me as he paced around the room, but he continued to speak.
頼む。理由は聞かないでくれ。俺はもう。君は俺や新選組には もう関わらない方がいい。江戸に行くまでは佐野が面倒を見てくれるはずだ。すまないな。
But Nagakura, why?
親父さんのことはこっちで何とかする。だからもう俺たちに関わらないでくれ。すまない。俺にはもう資格がないんだ。
Nagakura briskly turned around, then walked off. All I could do was watch as his back grew smaller. That's when I had realized. Nagakura was shot in the back from a bullet. However, he showed no signs of harm on his back. I have no idea what could have happened from the moment I left him on. There was no way of truly knowing. But I could imagine. It has to be the result he'd wished for the least. As soon as I began to put the pieces together, I decided then that I should honor his request. Because if I were to remain around him, I knew I just caused Nagakura more trouble. I never wanted to cause him trouble ever again. So I'd chosen to leave them forever. And thus concluded my journey, told over the last 4 years with the Shinsengumi. That means our boy drank the water of life. Alright. Last one. Last one for today, I feel. Is going to be Okita, and am I gonna cry for Okita again?
I don't know. I might not. We'll see.
I'm afraid. Carrot House Inc. is the voice recording studio! Records of service. Where's Okita? There he is. Low romance. Let's go. And do we do a skippy skip? We'll get there at some point. We're almost there. The first one. Okta, god fucking damn it. This isn't what Kondo-san would want. I was certain Okita had gone out into the streets to find the person who shot Kondo-san. I understood how he felt, but if you keep this up, you're going to break Kondo-san's heart. If Kondo-san wakes up, what would he feel if he finds out that you've broken the code? His brow silently furrowed. Okita had known Kondo-san so well. I was sure that he would know exactly what I was talking about. So please, let's just go back, okay? Even if you can find the person who shot Kondo-san, killing them won't make Kondo-san better.
確かに君の言う通りかもしれないね。でもだったら僕は他に何ができるのかな。土方さんや源さんみたいに幕府の偉い人とのやり取りができるわけじゃない。だからって新八さんや佐野さん、平助みたいに近藤さんと付き合うことだってできない。だからこそ羅刹になったのに、僕はまた役立たずだ。
He was furious now. I didn't dare speak to him. But as I watched, I realized the anger was a mask. Beneath it was an anxious, frightened child who feared he'd lost his way. Something I said had touched a place in Okita that he didn't want anyone else to see. I'd hurt his feelings. Just as the silence began to stretch to uncomfortable levels, I heard a voice.
おい、そこにいるのって掃除だ。
We could skip. Oh no, a whistle. Uh-oh. Well, it's because there's no point in stopping you. I didn't think there was any point in stopping you.
答えになってないんじゃない？無駄だと思うなら放っておけばいいのに。
If I could, I wouldn't have followed you like this.
あ、そう。好きにすればどうせ言っても聞かないんだろうし。
My breaths were quick and staggered as we ran through the chilly Kyoto evening. Kyoto evening, damn it, I'm doing it again. I'm losing it. It seemed as though many civilians had been frightened from the sounds of battle. So many homes were shut and locked. There were no signs of people anywhere.
あの人影はまさか。
Okita picked up something in his periphery, and he disappeared into the alleyway. I rushed to follow him.
久しぶりって言っていいのかな。近藤さんを撃ったのは君。
Okay, we can skip this. Good. Alright, where's the change? Where's the change? Uh-oh. Oh. Something hot pierced through my chest. I heard Akita's voice echo from a small distance away, but for some reason, I couldn't put any strength in my body, and I collapsed to the ground. What had just happened to me?
だから僕なんかについてこなければよかったのに。君のためにしてあげられることなんて 何一つないと思ってたけど、たった一つあるってことに気づいたよ。君の敵を取ってあげること。あの世で待っててね。僕が死んだ後行くのは多分地獄だろうから、また会うことはないだろうけどさ。
Just when I heard that, I heard a horrendous shriek ring from one ear to the other. Then, Kaoru groaned from Okita's wound. Such was the last sound I'd heard before my consciousness faded away into a flash of white. Well, time for the unrequited love bit. Let's see how this one ends, because I'm curious. Let's do our last one for the day. Skip button. Let's see. Well, yeah, we can skip everything because we've seen everything. Very close. Hi, Okita. This isn't what Kondo-sama's want. Skip. I'm worried about you, Okita. Alright, where do we end up? How does this all go down now?
何をボサッとしてるのさ。さっさと避けなよ。
Okita pushed me and I fell to the ground. Right after. Okita!
平気だよ、こんなの。羅刹はすぐに傷が癒えるんだから。
Okita winced as he finished his sentence, trying to feign toughness, but the wounds covering his body didn't seal up as immediately as I had so desperately hoped.
当てが外れたみたいだな。起きた。お前に落ち水を飲ませたのが誰なのか忘れたのか。対策ぐらい考えてあるに決まってるじゃないか。
Kaoru was barking proudly, turning around to face his men who held their guns at the ready.
どうやら起きたわ。俺の可愛い妹より先に死なせてほしいみたいだよ。 遠慮なく願いを叶えてやってくれるかな。
With Kaoru's word, the men pointed their guns towards Okita. But
そうは行くか。
Okita kicked the floor, propelling him forward. In what seemed like a blink of an eye, he was slashing the soldiers with savage cruelty. Others who were not yet killed were cowering at his display, but they readied their guns, pointing it to Okita, and they all shot at once. A small scatter of bullets hit Okita, but he didn't flinch at all, and he returned to face them wearing the eyes of a hunter, and he slayed them all. An eerie silence followed afterwards.
さて、残りは君だけだね。覚悟はいい。
Okita was drenched with a mixture of his blood and the blood of those freshly killed. Despite being covered in a morbid amount of gore, he stood up straight, fierce as a hawk. It was hard to believe he wasn't a god.
体に何発も銃弾を受けてるのに俺に勝てると思ってるのか。こう見えても雪村本家の男鬼なんだけどな、俺は。
そんなのどうでもいいよ。君がつまらないことを吹き込んだせいで近藤さんが怪我をさせられたんだから、何があってもどんなことがあっても君を殺してあげる。で
きるものならやってもらおうじゃないか。
Kaoru grinned maliciously as he unsheathed his katana, and then Okita rushed for Kaoru in a hot-headed outburst. It was as if a demon had possessed him. As I was watching from the side, I found it hard to move a muscle. Eventually, Okita had his sword smacked from his hands.
だから無理だって言っただろ。いくらなんでも俺を見くびりすぎだよ。
Okita gritted his teeth. Then from afar there was a sound of whistles.
やれやれ、面倒な連中が駆けつけてきたみたいだな。勝負はお預けってことにしようか。次はもう少しマシな戦いができるといいけど。
待て。
Okita attempted to run after Kaoru, but the latter had already dissolved into the darkness without a trace. As the adrenaline from his fight seemed to wane, Okita fell to the floor on his knees. Okita, take my arm. Let's go back to the magistrate. I picked up Okita's sword, which had been lying on the ground, and I handed it back to him. Then,
余計なことしないでくれるかな。
he angrily yanked the sword from my hands. Then he pointed the sword, which was coated in a thick, wet layer of blood, towards me. Okita?
君が余計な邪魔をしなければさっきあんな風に撃たれることもなくて近藤さんの敵を取ることができたのによくも邪魔してくれたね。
I was shivering from fear as Okita seethed bitterly at me. He was right. Had I not been there, Okita could have potentially killed Kaoru.
明日からは僕の前に顔を見せないで。土方さんやはじめくんたちと同じように昼間起きて夜は寝てればいい。
Oh shit. But
邪魔なんだよ。これから殺すやつと同じ顔をした人間が目の前にいるなんて。もし今後僕に近づいたら殺すから。これは冗談でも脅しでもないよ。土方さんや他のみんなが何を言ったとしても関係ない。 本当に切るからね。
Now that I knew the kind of person that Okita was, I knew just how serious his words were as he made this promise to me. Okita turned to walk away, keeping his bloody drenched blade in hand. He walked unsteadily and disappeared into the night. Kyoto, just moments before, had disappeared.
本当はもっと早く伝えておくべきだったんだけどね。どうしてこんなに先延ばしにしちゃったんだろう。
His voice was so low that it felt like as if the wind had carried his words into my ear. My spirits felt shattered. I crumbled to the floor. I couldn't even bring myself to run after him as he drifted further and further from me. For Okita, his top priority was to avenge Kondo-san. This made me nothing more but a burden to him. It was painful to acknowledge, but I felt it. Okita, if you eventually fulfill your wish, would that bring you true happiness at the end of it all? Well, I guess that is a way to end it. Nothing to cry over, but definitely shows the side of Okita that's like, if you manage to piss him off enough, he will make you go away. He will do anything. And the fact that it involved Kondo-san makes that 100 times more likely. Carrot House. Well, we're done. Right. So tonight it may or may not be SSL, or we might do art. I'm not actually 100% sure on that one. Maybe we'll start with art, maybe we'll do SSL after. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure, as I said. But Thursday we are continuing SSL and How to Does Root. For sure, because that's on the schedule. And on Friday, and that'll be at 9 p.m. EST. And on Friday, 3 p.m. EST, we'll come back to Kyoto Winds and continue our journey with the bad ends and the unrequited loves. Because we still got a list to go through. Next up, I believe, is Hijikata Sanan and Iba. And then after that, Soma, Sakamoto, and Heisuke, if we can pull off 6 in one, because we only have 2 each route now. But yeah. I know it seems short, but that's because the internet decided to fuck up the stream. But, please, drink water. Have a good night or day. Don't die because you didn't drink water. And I'll see ya next time. Bye-bye.